Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to math. Before we start on today's concept, if you're new to this class or if you missed last class video, make sure you watch that video first before you watch today's, because if you haven't seen the first part to this, then it's going to be a little bit more confusing for you this video. Okay, so make sure you watch the first video or the one before this one to make sure you get a little more understanding of what we're doing. Today, we're still working with determinants. Last class, we did a 2 by 2. Today, we're going to work with the 3 by 3. It's kind of the same principle. You need to know the one before, the 2 by 2, before doing the 3 by 3, because it works a little bit of both. Okay? Today, the first part we're going to do is focus on the black stuff first. Make sure you write everything down, but I'm going to explain step by step of how the equation works. And then I'm going to show you a little kind of a trick of how it's all set up. This way, maybe it'll make a lot more sense to you. Then we're going to get into the assignment itself, okay? The example. So if we turn our monitor a little this way, notice that, I'm going to cover that little piece up for now. Notice that we have a 3 by 3, so 3 by 3, okay? 3 rows, 3 columns, okay? Notice that it's still sort of labeled the same as the 2 by 2. The only difference is that we have more. We have to add more variables in here. So we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and I. Okay? We have a few more variables now. The way the equation is set up, guys, is I'm going to show you the very first part, okay? We have A, meaning the first one, A, and then we have our little parentheses or our matrices. E. Notice that I'm using a set of numbers, okay? We have A times this section here. Okay, so we have the first row and then the second column and third column, okay? So we have A, then we have EF, HI, okay? Then we have a minus. Now we already used the A. The next one we're going to use is B. Okay? It's going to go like this. So we're going to have 3 parts: A, B, and C. Remember, we have A times this. That means that B is going to be B. And then we have F, D, I, G plus C, D, E, G, H, okay? I ran out of room to do a little line at the end, but that is the equation you're going to need today, okay? It looks kind of complicated. It's not that it's very complicated once you plug in the numbers, once you know how it works. I'm going to show you a different way how it works. But once we do plug it in, it makes it a lot more simpler, okay? I'm going to show you another way. Alright guys, so notice that the equation we had on the board, I have it written here so you guys can see it better in case you guys couldn't see it on the video, on the board I mean. But the trick to this is the way these are set up, these pieces. Okay, just keep in mind, we have the first one's positive, then negative, then positive, okay? The way they are set up, and this trick helps out a lot when it comes to setting it up to see if it's set up the right way or not. Notice that we have, like I said, we have A here. If I were to write it twice, if I wrote this twice here, we will see that we have A being multiplied or being set up inside the matrices. We have EF and HE. Notice that we have A, and then diagonally we use a little square to get EF, HI. Okay, that's how they set it up. That's how it's set up. Again, for B, we have B. Again, diagonally, FD, IG. Notice there's a pattern. Now we're going to use C, and we're going to use DE, and GH, okay, for the pattern. So when you see the number on the board, the one I'm going to show you right now for the example, I'm not going to write it twice. We're going to kind of pretend we wrote it twice so we can make it easier for you guys to see how it's all set up, how to plug in the numbers, okay? So let's get started on the assignment. Hopefully by now you have a better understanding of how the whole equation works, how it's set up. Now that we have everything we need, we can actually start our first or example, okay? The example for today is we have this 3 by 3, okay? Let me put this away. We have this 3 by 3. We have 4, 5, -2, 1, 3, 0, 2, -3, and 6. Remember, now that you have everything on your notes, we can, first things first, we have to label it. Always label. We have, again, we have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Okay? Makes it a lot more simple to plug it in. Let's start off with the first one. Our first one was A, right? If you guys remember, was A, which is 4. Then we have our little line here. Then remember, we use the next two, right? Which is the bottom two. So think of it as diagonal. We get 4, then we get the two diagonals. We have 3, 0, -3, and 6. Okay? The next one was a minus. So we have minus. And again, we choose the next one. This time is 5. And again, remember, if we have the other one here, we have 5, and then the two next ones, which is 0. And in this case, the one would be over here. So we have 0, and then the 1, and then 6 under the 0, and then the 2, right? Because it's the one we're using. If we had to rewrite it again. And then our final piece is plus our last one, which in this case is -2. And then if we write, again, the next one, if you have to rewrite this equation over here, we have the bottom two, right? So we have 1, 3, 2, -3. Now that we have it written down, we can actually start solving, okay? This is why at the beginning of the video I said if you haven't watched the other video, it's going to be a lot more confusing to you. We are not multiplying the 4 to all these numbers on the inside. We're trying to actually solve this matrices, okay? The way we're going to solve it is, again, we have to actually do what we did in the previous video, which now we're going to multiply 3 times 6 from the previous video. Diagonally, we multiply 0 times -3. We keep the 4, okay? Parentheses, because now we're going to get rid of the whole matrices, okay? 3 times 6, 18. -3 times 0 is 0, right? So do we really need that 0 in there? Nothing changes, because it'll be 18 plus 0 or minus 0, which is nothing. Next, we have negative, so let's use the other marker. -5. Again, we're going to multiply diagonally. which do we really need 0 times 2, which is 0, right? We really don't need it. 6 times 1 is 6. And then the next one, we do the same thing. Plus and minus. Remember, this is the equation one, but we really need the negative, right? Because it's a negative 2. So we do minus 2. So minus 2, parentheses, 1 times negative 3, which is negative 3, right? And then 2 times 3, which is 6. Now that we have those numbers, remember, we're subtracting, okay? Because remember, we're subtracting one from the other. It was A times, sorry about that. A times D minus B times C. Now we have 4 times 18. We're actually going to solve it. We're going to do the old-fashioned way. 18 times 4, which is 8 times 4 is 32, right? We have a 3. 4 times 1 is 4, plus 3 is 7. So we have 72 minus, this is the brown, minus, so this became this, 4 times 18 became 72, 5 times 6, which is 30, right? And then the final piece, we're going to keep the minus 2 for now, times negative 3 minus 6. Notice that they're both negatives. So we add them and keep the negative, right? Because they're both negatives. Minus 9. 72 minus 30. We can subtract because they're both the same. They don't have variable. So 72 minus 30. We bring down the 2. 7 minus 3 is 4. So we have 42. Notice that now we have multiplication here and we have two negative numbers. They're both negative, so they become positive, right? So now we have plus 18, which 42 plus 18 is 4 and 1, that's 5. That makes it a 0, which is 60. So our answer is 60. And that's how we solve a 3 by 3 matrices, okay? Like I said, you needed the other video, the first part of this video, to know how to break down the middle part. Obviously, the equation for this video, to start off plugging it all together. If you have any questions, guys, let me know, okay? Once you're done watching the video, make sure you send me your answers, and I'll be waiting for your email.